Explain the conversation with your friend.
Okay, so my friend, he's a gay guy, and we were just like talking recently over Facebook, and he made a comment of how he's able to tell that I'm trans, and that like while I'm further into my transition, he will be able to still be able to tell that I'm trans.
How did that make you feel?
Well, like I don't think it's possible that it depends on the person, but generally I think it's possible to tell if someone's
No, no, no,
trans.
no, 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 no. That's not what
They
I'm
tell
asking.
you.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, how did what he said make you feel?
Um, it made me feel insecure about.
It made you feel insecure about your transition, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anytime you have those type of feelings, that's not about the person saying it. Okay? You get me? It's not. Let me
Yeah.
explain it to you. When you have those insecure feelings, it's no longer about what they are saying. Your feelings were triggered by what they were saying, but the insecurities did not come up because of what they said. They were already there. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even though, there's going to be people in your life that that are your friends, there's going to be people in your life that you don't know that might say something rude that triggers those insecurities throughout your transition. That's about anything. That can go about your look. That can go about you being trans. Like if a fat girl, a person who used to be fat and got skinny, they still have some issues like they were when they was fat. Sometimes you feel what I'm saying. So a person could say something to them that triggers the insecurities that's been instilled in them since they were fat. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The insecurities are there. So your issue is to address the insecurities. Now, you are trans because of what? You said you don't even like the label trans, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, why is that?
Like, I I just feel like I'm male regardless, even though I was born at birth. But I don't like the label of saying that I'm transgendered and that I transitioned because I feel like I've been the same way.
Okay. Now that's deep. Now I want you to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because to me, let me make sure I get you clearly. You don't like the label trans because you feel like you've been male, right? Like this is not a transition for you.
Yeah.
So if you really believe that, then why would some gay guy, your friend, telling you that he can tell that you're trans be an insecurity to you? If you really believe that.
Because if I'm just identifying regularly, I would just identify as male, but try to explain the way that I am to other people. I use the term trans, or I tell them I'm transgendered and this is my situation. But other than that, I don't use trans.
But don't you think that's kind of this is I want you to, when I talk to you, I want you to understand I'm not trying to label you, and I want you label yourself. So I'm just trying to get an understanding. In my mind, when somebody tells me, "Oh, I'm not trans, I'm just male," then it tells me that they are totally neglecting the past. To me,
I understand.
because although I respect you as a man because you're a trans man or because you are what you are. I respect that and I respect your transition because just on the strength of my transition. But you are a male of a different path. Do you feel what I'm saying? You're not a male of a natal born path. Do you feel what I'm saying? You're not that. So there is a distinction between you and a regular male. There's a distinction. Do you see what I'm saying? Just like as a trans woman, I can say I'm a woman all day. No, I'm not a man, but I'm not a natal born woman. Do you feel what I'm saying? So there's a distinction between me and a man. There's a distinction between me and a natal born woman. I am something different. I come from a different path. It's just just a different type of woman. So although you may not like the trans label, you do fit into the trans experience.
Yes. Yeah.
And when and you it's you know, it's hard to kind of accept that and accept the fact that it's kind of like the people we were talking about on previous occasions. Some people just want to get in their transition, totally be passable, and just live their life as whatever gender they are transitioning to, right? Some people want to live that life and not have to deal with the negatives of being trans. But unfortunately, during the transition, you're going to have to deal with it. It's just that just comes with the territory because, like I said, we do not come from the same path as our natal born counterparts. You feel what I'm saying? This is the experience, and either you're gonna accept it or you can't accept it. So it goes back to what I was talking about when you asked me why is the T always left out? If you're not a T, why would you even care?
Huh?
If you're not a T, why would you even care about the T being left out?
Because, like, at the end of the day, I was born female, so that follows me around regardless. And like you said, like, I come from a different path.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's like to have been born male, so what I had to have grown up with, if for someone to say something about me that has anything to do with my body as it is right now, it's still, like, it just still hurts me. And I'm still trans regardless of that, but at the same time, I feel like I don't like labels. So that's what gets me mad when the T is left out. Like, people are just not as educated about it.
Well, like I explained to you, the reason why the T is left out is because of people like yourself. That's keeping it real. Because of people like yourself who don't want to be the T, you're not fighting to be the T. You're fighting to be the M, or you're fighting to be the F. So you're not fighting to be the T. So most people are not worried about the T because what most of us are trying to do, they're not trying to be proud to be the T. They're trying to be the F and go on about their business and not worried about the rights of the younger people coming in the generation. They're trying to be the M. They're not worried about the young trans men that's coming up in life. They're not worried about it. They're just trying to be passable. They're trying to do whatever they can to not be clocked and just be this ultimate male or ultimate female, and forgetting about the T and actually leaving the T out. Now, I know what you mean by that. You mean that the LGB seem like they're being, praised and getting all these accolades, and we're being left out. But actually, it's because of us. One of the elements of it. Now, of course, it's not just because of us, but one of the elements of it is that we are not vocal about being what we are. We are not standing in pride in what we are. We're too busy trying to assimilate. To me, that's what it is to me. It's assimilate. We're trying to be this ultimate female, or we're trying to be this ultimate male because we don't want to deal with the fear and don't want to deal with the negative that comes along with it. It's kind of like passing, like back in the day during slavery or Jim Crow, how the black people that could look white, how they would just pass. Some of them passed and just continued their life as white, married white men or white women, and continued their life as they were white and never did anything for the black people. Some of them did. But it's the same exact thing. You don't change anything they didn't change anything by pretending to be white. They just assimilated. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like, if you could pass, you just became another white person. You didn't do anything to change the social environment of the society. You didn't do anything. You just assimilated. And that's why the tea is left out, because people are not standing up. Some of us are, and accepting and knowing that we are a different type. No, you are not a woman. And no, I'm not telling you to stick and hold on to being a woman. No, that's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is to hold on to being the man that you are, the type of man that you are, who comes from a different path. Do you get the difference? I'm not trying to. I don't want you to. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to get you to hold on to. Oh, you're gonna always be a woman. You were born a woman. That's not where I'm coming from. I don't want you to get that. What I want you to get is that accept the type of man that you are.
Yeah, I understand.
Now, why are you insecure about your transition at this point?
Huh?
Why are you insecure about your transition at this point? You seem fairly early.
Well, yeah, I just started hormones.
Right, you just started. So why would you think that somebody wouldn't be able to tell so soon?
Already, not that many people know.
Right.
So for someone to tell me that they're already able to know, it kind of just sets me back, because from when I was even younger, back to like elementary school, I was always made fun of for looking so masculine, yet being a girl. And in middle school, it was the same thing. And a lot of the things that happened to me back in middle school and back in elementary school followed me now. So for someone to then go back and tell me that I look feminine, or I resemble stereotypically what someone female looks like, it just surprises me.
Okay, first of all, you should not be based, like I said, you should not be basing your self-evaluation on passing. Do not base the success of your transition on passing. You will always fail. It just, honestly, you will always fail, because there's always going to be somebody that knows, or you can run into that knows. Now, we're not talking about random people. I'm talking about somebody who could know somebody in your family, and you didn't know they discussed you, and they see you somewhere, and, oh, I know that person is a trans. Not because she looks trans, not because he looks trans, not because any of that, because, because I know, because I got the information from somebody. It may not just be your look, and sometimes it may be. Some people just have the eye. Do you feel what I'm saying? Some people just have been around trans men enough to know what to look for. Some people have been around trans women enough to where they know what to look for. Some people, it's their intuition. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes, and it's maybe not even the majority of people. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like, the majority of people will just go around and think that you're just a guy. But there might be someone, there might be just some person that for some reason, they're just not for sure. And it brings up a question in their mind, and they might clock you that way. But that has nothing to do with the success of your transition. The success of your transition should be based on the quality of your life and your happiness and how you feel about yourself. Not you passing. Are you happy with what you're presenting to the world right now?
Well, I'm still kind of like confused as to, like, should I be completely out to everyone, or should I just not entirely be stealth, but just be out to the people who are closest to me?
That's a choice. That's a choice you don't have to be out to everyone. When I go to work, I don't discuss my status of being trans, because they don't need to know that. I'm here to work. Do you feel what I'm saying? They don't need to know that. But it's a need to know basis. You don't have to tell everybody. Now, if you choose to, or if they find out, don't be shady. You feel what I'm saying? Don't quit your job, or be scared, or be fearful. One of the things, you shouldn't live your life in fear. You shouldn't base your decisions off fear. All of that. You should never make your decisions based off that. You make your decisions off your happiness. If this situation does not need you to discuss your transition, don't discuss it because it's not important. If it comes a moment when it needs to be discussed, then you discuss it. And it's not about hiding it because, like I said, you need to stand in your pride. But a woman is not going around. A natal-born woman is not going around declaring to everybody, "I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I'm a woman." They're not doing that. They're just living their life as what they are, presenting what they want to present. You feel what I'm saying? That's not what you do. You just live your life when it's appropriate, when it's the right place and right time. That's when you decide to tell whether or not you are ready to tell them that you're trans or that you're not. Whatever you want to tell them at the moment. So that's a decision based thing. That's a personal, individual decision that you need to make. You get what I'm saying? But understand that it's not about passing. Just because your friend, and first of all, your friend is gonna always think, "Oh, I would know," because they know. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like they're gonna always say, "Oh, I would know if I didn't know you and just saw you." They're gonna do that because they know you. They may have known you prior, and they remember it. It's just like your mom. Your mom is gonna always know what's up because she remembers the whole process. It's not like somebody who is at the grocery store who doesn't know you, who just see they have no past with you. They just see a guy walking in the store. So they just consider you a guy because they don't know anything about you. Do you feel what I'm saying? Or somebody else who doesn't have this past with you. Where your friend, he may have this past with you, so he can't let that go. And you're gonna have some people in your life that are like that. Simple as that. And they're gonna constantly remind you of and try to put you in that box. They're gonna constantly remind you and try to put you in that box. But it's your place to know who you are, know where you stand, be proud of who you are, and act accordingly. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
This isn't taking this step to be a trans is not it's not a walk in the park. It's a spiritual transition. It's not just your physical transition. You got to know how to deal with people and deal with life and deal with things coming up unexpectedly. You got to learn how to do it. And not let it hit you so hard emotionally or get in you and make those insecurities that were already there before he said it. They were there. Make those insecurities flare up. You gotta learn how to take that shit like a little shield. You know that stuff you put on like a car to make the raindrops roll off? You gotta learn how to build that around you. And so you can know what to let in, what to not, what's important, what's not important. And, constructive criticism is always good. You got to understand when somebody is being genuinely and honest. But when it's something that you really don't need, learn how to let it go. Because a lot of people are going to give you what you don't need. Just because they feel like they're entitled to their opinion and they feel like they need to share their opinion with you, even though you didn't ask for it. So you're going to get that. But you got to know when to not, give them that much energy.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Then what do I do when someone asks me something like personal about my body or things like, "Oh, and when are you having surgery down there?" and things like that?
Well, anybody asking you personal questions about your body is inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's kind of self-explanatory. It's just inappropriate. You say, "Oh, that's an inappropriate question." You shouldn't ask me questions about my body. That's how you deal with that. Because I'm not. It's just like me walking up to a guy, even if I'm not some guys that wouldn't give a damn, but it's still inappropriate. If I walk up to a guy and say, "Oh, pull your dick out," it is inappropriate. If I walk up to a girl, "Ooh, how big is your titties?" People don't like you to ask questions about their body parts. That's inappropriate. And if a person is asking you that, then you have opened the door and they feel you have gave them permission to do that. So you need to reestablish those boundaries and say, "Hey, no, that's an inappropriate question." I can educate you on being trans, but talking about my body parts is inappropriate.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And like I transfer schools, and usually when I crush on someone, I would just avoid it. And really recently, I told a girl in my class that I like her, and she has no idea. But we've been talking, and she doesn't know. So I don't know when to tell her. Some people are telling me I should be upfront and tell her, and then some people are telling me I should wait to get to know her better, tell her. And one thing that happened based off of me liking her is since I'm not like good with talking to girls and telling them that I like them, I wrote her a note telling her that I like her, and she told me that she finds it awkward for both of us that I have a crush on her. And then she told me that she's not ready to date and that she's kind of in a relationship. So I'm confused about the whole situation.
You're not confused about the whole situation. She just let you know that she wasn't interested. That's keeping it real. She just let you know that she wasn't interested. If she told you that she was kind of in a relationship and that it was awkward, blah 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 blah, then that lets you know. So you're not confused about it. You're creating the confusion if you're not taking that if you're not taking that as a rejection. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because she let you know pretty directly. A lot of times people let you know direct. It's kind of indirect, but it's direct. Hers was really direct. Some people was kind of indirect as that. But when somebody shows any type of resistance to them getting to know you, it lets you know where they stand. And if you keep holding on to that, you put yourself in a position where you're vulnerable to being hurt by somebody who lets you kind of know up front that they're not really into you.
But more of the problem is that she is like still talking to me and sending me messages and stuff. So, like, I'm confused.
Okay, but that means nothing. That don't mean that she can't be your friend. Does that because she doesn't want to be with you? That doesn't mean you guys can't talk. Does that mean you guys can't talk?
I mean, like after what she said, like again, like it was kind of upfront, but again, still confusing with her saying she's still in a relationship and that it's awkward, but yet still talks to me. And she did bring up the situation, but it's still kind of weird that she's still talking to me.
Well, just talking is just talking. What you do if I were you, I wouldn't pursue the situation. She would have to pursue the situation. Just talk to her as a friend. Don't try to be with her. Don't try to make it more than what it is. Just talk to her as a friend. This is the time that you can get to know her and be her friend. And the trans stuff doesn't even need to get open to even come up. Do you feel what I'm saying? Y'all can just talk and be friends. It doesn't even need to come up at this point. And then when she's ready and it's not awkward anymore for her, then she would make the move and say, "Hey, well, what are we doing?" Let her make that move. But you at this point, now that she's gave you this awkward statement and this, "Oh, I'm in a relationship" statement, which says no, ultimately, not at the time. No, not at the moment. That's what it says. No, not at the moment. You lean back and be her friend. That's it.
Okay. And another thing is that since I live in a building and I've lived here like my whole life, everyone knows who I am. So I don't know what to start doing when changes start showing on me and when people start to ask questions. And some people have already started treating me weirdly, like giving me weird stares, or like they'll see me coming like into the building and they'll rush away from me and just things like that.
Okay, first of all, you're turning into a black man, okay? That comes with the black man territory. You know that, right? Okay. Now, when you're transitioning into a demographic, you're inheriting. I have a post on my website that talks about it. When you're transitioning into a demographic, you are inheriting everything that comes along with that demographic. The racism, the misogyny, all the things that come along with being a black male, the image, what is hard, what is masculine, what is not hard, how you're supposed to act, the fears of other people, all of that comes along with being a black man, you're inheriting that. So you're going to have to deal with it. So you're going to get looked. You're going to get people walking across the street, holding onto their purse a little bit harder if you're in the elevator with them. All of the stuff that come with being a black man, you're going to get it. So accept that right now. Accept that. Number two, you're in a transition. There is going to be changes physically and emotionally. The physical ones people can see, the emotional ones they can't. So the physical ones, when people start seeing hair on your face, when people start seeing those things, they are going to react differently than you expect. And your emotions are going to be different because you're taking tea. You're not going to be able to communicate as well as you did prior to your transition. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to communicate as well. Your emotion is going to be a little bit different. Your depth of emotion is going to be a little bit different because that's the difference. That's what comes along with being a man. So it's going to change a little bit. It's not going to change a lot because if you're trans and, there's part of you that's already masculinized. So those things you have to deal with. It's going to come. That comes with the territory. How to deal with them, you're not going to know. And I can't coach you on how to deal with them because I'm not a trans man. What I do know is that they're going to come and that each one is going to be different. Somebody may come up to you 6 months and come to you in a real angry way. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you starting to look like a guy? It could be rude and disrespectful like that, or it could be somebody who you really care about that's coming to you like, really? You just seems like you're changing. Like, you getting hair on your face? What's going on, bro? What's up? And they could come with you with care and understanding. But you don't know how somebody is going to come to you. And so you have to play that by ear. You don't know how it's going to come, but you're going to have to deal with it because changes are happening.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how to deal with it. That's something I can't help you with. It's something that you're going to have to learn. Everybody has to learn that.
So my family is religious, and prior to me like starting hormones, when I first came out, they thought I was going through a phase, and they still don't understand how it's possible for me to feel this way. And like now I don't know how to deal with them, like seeing them like on family occasions. I don't know how to deal with changing and how to go about this with them.
What type of stuff are they doing?
Huh?
What type of stuff is like individual family members doing?
Well, it's not individual family members, it's everyone in my family. Well, on my mom's side, but my mom is like understands.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, you gotta you have to understand who is important in your life, and are you willing to lose them? Okay, for your transition, everybody Everybody is not going to accept this. Some people are. Some people are not going to accept it at all. Ever will, never going to accept it. Period. Point blank. They're never going to be in your life. Some people it's going to take them a long time to accept it, but they eventually do. And then some people are going to accept it immediately. So you know you're about to change. So you know there's going to be questions. You can leave the door open for them to ask you questions. Ask you questions about your transition for educational purposes. But do not leave the door open for them to judge you and place judgment on you. Because there's a difference between somebody coming to you and asking for understanding of your situation compared to somebody coming to you to say, this is wrong, this is not right, you need to go to church, you're going to hell. That last part is judgmental, and that doesn't come from a place of love and trying to understand. There's going to be some people in your family that are like that. And then there's going to be some people in your family that's really, they're trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
If you live with your family, it's a little bit different because you live under their household, so it's kind of a weird thing. But if you don't, then there's certain things you can do. You can stop answering to your old name and your she, and if they don't respect it, stop dealing with them. It's kind of hard, but that's what you're gonna have to do because they have to learn that you're either gonna respect me or you're not. But you have to be willing to hold your ground on that situation. You have to be self-sufficient because if you're still getting money and all that kind of stuff from your parents, then you got to deal with what they bring to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. But if you are ready to transition and you're self-sufficient, then you need to say, hey, if you're not going to respect my transition, you're not going to respect, this is my name, this is what I want you to call me, this is what I am now. If you're not going to respect it, I can't deal with you. So that's how you just got to set the boundaries. It's going to be aggressive, and it's a way to convey what you are without being aggressive. Is a way to convey it. But if you are, for example, like if say your aunt comes to you and say, well, what you gonna do about kids? You can say, well, my life decisions is my life decisions. Let me figure that out. That really has nothing to do with you. It's a way to talk to them, to let them know that you're crossing the boundaries. My life is not for you to dictate. My life choices is mine. Simple as that. You are my family member, so you're supposed to be happy for me. You're supposed to support me. You don't have to support me. You don't have to like every decision that I make, but don't come at me on some negative shit. Don't come at me with judgment and trying to hurt my feelings and make me feel bad because of these decisions. You're supposed to say, well, I don't really agree with that decision, but I love you. I hope it works out for you. That's what you're supposed to say. But if you don't and you're coming to me with all this negative stuff, then you're not coming to me from a place of love. You can explain this all to them and understand and talk about boundaries of what you don't want them to do and what you do want them to do. And the consequences of them doing these things that you don't want them to do. The consequences of that, I will not be in your life. And you may not care. And that's fine. So that means if you don't care enough for me to be in your life, that means you shouldn't care enough to be giving me this lecture about why I should be a woman. You shouldn't care enough about that either. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's how you talk to people. You don't have to totally cut them off, but if they are rude and disrespectful and being assholes and judgmental, sometimes you have to cut them off. I have a person in my family that's really accepting. I have somebody who took a long time to get to the point of acceptance and they accept now. And then I have somebody who totally doesn't accept it. And that person I don't deal with, period, on any level. I don't come to their house. They invite me to things. No. If you can't respect me and call me by my name, my government name, and you're still holding on to my birth name, even though I changed that years ago, if you're holding on to the he and the hymns and that shit, I can't be in your house because I find it disrespectful. Why would I be in that situation or voluntarily put myself in that situation? And I verbally talk to them. I just don't cut it off. I verbally tell them why I don't like it and why I'm not doing this because it's inappropriate to me. And when you start verbally telling them, it makes them conscious. It makes them know. Now that doesn't mean they're going to change, but it makes them know why you are not dealing with them. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then some of them, because of that, they will change. Slowly but surely, some of them will change. It's all about communication. All about communication. And not allowing somebody to disrespect you. Don't allow somebody to disrespect you. Don't feel like you got to kiss their ass. Now, if you in their house, there's a difference. You kind of got to deal with it because you're in their house. Because you're living with them. But if you're not and you're self-sufficient, that's why I tell all trans people, do whatever you can to get an education, a great job, whatever you can, however you can do it, to be self-sufficient, because that is liberation. Because then you have the leverage and the power to say, I don't want this motherfucker in my life, so therefore I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right. I'm about to go to sleep. I'm glad that you hit me up so we can talk.
Yeah.
If you have any more questions, just hit me up.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Be good. Bye-bye.